Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is on this purple glitter liner promise type of look, and I use the Natasha Denona Tropic palette. I don't know why, but every time I say the Natasha Denona Tropic palette, I want to say the Sunset palette. Anyways, it is the Tropic palette. If you're new, I'm Angelique. Welcome to my channel. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell so you get notified every time I upload. And so we'll just go ahead and jump right in. Today I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to cut my crease first using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. Usually I'll go in with my transition shades first, but I'm going to leave like a bare line in between the cut crease and the transition shades, so I just wanted to do this part first. I'm just going to take this M224, I think that's the number of it, and I'm going to use that to do like the majority of the cut crease because it just covers more. But then I always like to go in with my little tiny precision brush and make the actual line a little more precise. This is my favorite little brush to use to cut my crease. I cannot live without it. It just does the most perfect job, and where it's so tiny, it's just so much easier to use. When I get out to the end, I'm going to go ahead and curve that up and make like, you know, our little tail like you would for a cat eye, because I want the edge of that to be kind of sharp. When we do a cat eye later, I want it to be easy to just follow that line. And we can always perfect it a little bit. If you mess up right here, it's okay, on the edge where we do the cat eye, because we can always go back in and fix that later. Then I just want to make sure that the concealer is nice and distributed evenly across my eye so that it doesn't look patchy when I start putting the shadow on. I like to try to make it as sharp as I can though, so that I have less work to do later. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with the shade Zena, and then I'm just going to place that everywhere where we just put the concealer. I'm doing the whole bottom. There's no ombre or anything like that. We're just doing straight purple all the way across. I'm just going to fill in, and I'm not going to go above our concealer line. I'll take that little precision brush later and get as close to it as I can. The reason that I wanted to do this look is because I actually had a dream that I did this specific look, and I actually filmed this tutorial once, but I didn't like how it turned out because I used a white liquid liner that cracked, and I had used it in the crease. I've got a picture of it on Instagram, so you can always look it up, but it would have been really pretty if it hadn't been for that. So I went a different route this time, and I do use that liquid liner a little bit later on, but I'll show you when we get there. Now I'm going to go in with that little tiny precision brush, and I'm going to use that to be really precise, cut that crease right over top of that concealer and go on the same line. This is where it really comes in handy that we already cut the crease, because our line's already made for us. Now we just need to trace it. If you don't have these specific brushes or Morphe brushes or whatever, just use what you have. If you don't have this palette, use any purple shade that you have. You can always do that with any of these tutorials. You can use what you already have. I would suggest investing into good brushes, because I really believe that they make the world of difference when it comes to applying eyeshadows. It's really hard to do it with crappy tools. If you mess up and you get outside of the lines a little bit, it's okay, because we can always cut that back out with concealer later, but try your best to stay in the lines like the best you can. Then I'm going to switch back to that bigger brush, and I'm going to use that just to pack on a little bit more shadow to fill in any patchy areas. I just want to make sure that the shadow looks nice and smooth and even. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Sangria, and I'm just going to use that to start carving out where I want my transition shades to go. And if you'll notice, I'm leaving a little bit of space in between the purple shade and this really pretty Sangria shade. That's because I want that bare strip to be there. I'm going to fill that in with some glitter later, but I just want it to be bare underneath the glitter. And so I'm just going to follow kind of the same line as like where your crease would be, and I'm going to match it up kind of with the purple shade down there so that it looks like it's all together even though there's that bare strip in the middle. Then I'm going to go in with this shade called Pastel Melon, and that's what I want to use as my transition shade, and I'm going to use an R41. This is usually a brush that I use to smoke out my lower lash line, but I felt like it was the perfect size to kind of blend that out on top. And I'm also going to use that to blend out that sangria color a little bit so it's not really harsh. I still want that to be like a defined line, but I don't want it to be super harsh. I want the edges to be really blended. Next, I'm just going to go in with the INGLOT gel liner in the shade 77. It's just a black gel liner, and I'm going to trace the edge like we talked about earlier for the cat eye. I'm just going to trace the edge of that purple, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest of my cat eye. I don't want this to be like a super huge wing because I feel like that takes away from the look sometimes. So especially towards the front of my eye, like the inner corner, I'm going to keep that liner very thin and very close to the lash line. When I get to about like the center of my eye, then I will drag it out to meet the edge of the wing where it looks like an even cat wing. Cat eye wing? I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. And then I'm just going to go back in with that little tiny precision brush with just a little bit of that concealer on it, and I'm just going to touch up the line, the bare line that's in between the purple shade and the sangria shade. Like I said, I want that line to be very prominent and very clean. Now I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in the shade Glam Rock. It's just a really pretty silver glitter shade, and these glitter liners just have like the most tiny little brush that just makes it so easy to apply the glitter. You can still mess up, of course. I did a little bit, but you can go back and clean it up with a Q-tip and everything will be fine. I'm just going to make sure I trace right over top of the whole line all the way out to the wing where we did the bare concealer line. I make sure that I put on like a decent amount of glitter just because when I take pictures of this later, I want the glitter to stand out. And sometimes it's really hard to get glitter, especially a glitter liner, to show up in pictures. Now this next part you can skip if you want. I definitely don't recommend going in with this NYX liquid liner in the shade White because this liner cracks, and I knew better than to use it on this look, but I did it anyways just because that was the look that I had envisioned. Just a little bit of white liner above the black liner, and just like on the first 2/3 of our eye, I don't take it all the way out to the wing. I would highly recommend using something else. I have a couple of other things up my sleeve, so I'm going to try some different looks with some white liner, and I'm going to use something different and see if it works, and if it does, I will do another tutorial with a different look, of course, and show you what I'm going to start using as a white liquid liner. I have to go over this a couple of times just because it's not really going on as white as I want it to, and I also have to use like the tiniest amount of product because it bleeds a little bit too. You'll see me go back in a few times and kind of make it even a little bit thicker than what I had planned on, just because it bled into the purple and made it look really uneven, and I had to fix that. I'm a perfectionist. That just wasn't going to work for me. And because that bled into my black liner, I'm just going to go back in with that black liner brush, and I'm going to clean that up a little bit. And I actually even clean the black off of that little liner brush that I'm using, and I go in with the white because I just felt like I said it was like bleeding up too high, and I needed something that could cover more than that little precision brush and kind of make it a little bit thicker and put it on like a little more precise. This brush is extremely thin, but it's kind of flat and longer, so it helped to do that. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Fake Tan, and I'm just going to place that on my under eyes. Actually, my camera stopped while I was filming, so I'm kind of going through the motions again so that you guys don't miss anything. I'm taking a precision brush, I'm going in with the shade Cocoa, and I'm using that right against my lower lash line, and then I'm going to go back in with the Fake Tan shade, and I'm going to blend that out just a little bit. And then I'm going to go and put my lashes on. Then I'm going to go in with the Tarte Blush Bazaar in the shade Endless, and I'm using this R5 brush because a white haired brush will put product on a little more sheer than a dark haired brush, and I am heavy handed with blush, so I like to use that even though I still go in a little bit heavy handed. Next, I'm going to go in with the Morphe X Bretman highlighter, and I'm going to go in with the shade BEHBEH Girl, and I'm going to put it in my inner corners. I was really excited to use this palette, and I really think it's beautiful. Then I'm going to mix these two shades, BEHBEH Girl and Vacation, and I'm going to use those on the Bretman little fan brush that it came with, which, by the way, I love this brush. It works really well, and I'm, of course, just going to highlight my cheekbones, and I like to go up in a little C shape a little bit. Then I like to do my nose, down the center of it, my cupid's bow, my chin a little bit. I think this is a really nice highlighter palette, and I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't know if I would like it, but I actually really loved it. I feel like the colors were really creamy, and the darker shades that will be too dark for me, I'm going to just use them as eyeshadows, so it's a win-win. Then I'm going to go in with those shades and put a little bit on my brow bone just to brighten them up. Then I'm going to go in with the Marc Jacobs highliner in the shade Blew Me Away. And this is such a beautiful blue color. I'm going to put it in my waterline just to give me a different pop of color, and I felt like this really brought this look together. I mean, it looks so stunning in person. I know it doesn't show up on camera very well, but it is so beautiful in person. This blue shade is one of my favorites that they carry, and once they're on your waterline, they don't budge. Then I'm just going to put a coat of waterproof mascara on my lower lashes just so that they don't look bare. Then I'm going to go in with one of my favorite velvet liquid lipsticks by Kylie Cosmetics, and this is the shade Charm. I love this. This is like one of my perfect pinky nudie shades that I have found that I love for my skin tone and just for myself in general. I love this shade. And then, of course, I'm going to set my face using the Urban Decay De-Slick Setting Spray. So that concludes my tutorial on this purple glittery look using the Natasha Denona Tropic palette. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video.